All right, you guys, we're back with another One Piece poll video. Today, we are ripping off the Band-Aid and asking the $1,000,000 question. Will someone else come to the Elbaf throne room during the King Harald fight? And no, I'm not talking about afterwards, like Shanks and Gaban. I'm talking about during the fight against Loki and Jarul. So, I pulled it up here. Obviously, I do like holding these polls, and the reason why is because I'm just one guy. I always like to say that, but I have my own thoughts and opinions, and what really matters is how everybody feels about the matter. And of course, maybe we get a dark horse here that actually ends up being correct, which has happened in the past. So, does someone else show up to the Elbaf castle during the Harald fight? 3 options are on the board. Unfortunately, I did not put more, but the first option is that yes, the God Knights and or the Gorosei show up, and if you think Emu shows up, I'd also include it in this category as well. The second option says yes, but it's somebody else. And last but not least, we have no. Everybody who partakes in the fight is already here. So, my personal opinion on this is that I do think someone else will show up. I initially kind of felt like Marcus Mars would be that guy, hence the thumbnail. But the thing is that the more we go into this flashback, the less Marcus Mars becomes important. And you might be saying, Sai, why did you think Marcus Mars was going to be important in the first place? It's mainly because of Egghead Island. It ruined me, brother. During Egghead, we saw that Saint Saturn took up a major role in Bonnie, Kuma, and Ginny's storyline, and even Vegapunk's storyline. So I was like, oh, okay, because Oda focused so much on one Gorosei there, and it pretty much wrapped up his entire story in that one arc. Maybe we'll get the same thing in Elbaf. We come to Elbaf, we focus on another Gorosei member, and then by the end of it, we deal with him. So, I kind of did lean towards Marcus Mars for that, for 2 reasons. One, because of the Elbaf mural, at the very top of the tree, whether it's the Adam or Eve tree, we see this giant bird-like monster shooting flames at the serpent. And of course, that could very easily be something from the Void Century or even further back beyond that. I was like, okay, if we had to look at a current day dragon bird monster, I would err towards good old Marcus Mars, right? Because he is the Itsumare. Why would he be fighting the serpent in the mural? Don't ask me, brother. But I was like, okay, maybe Marcus Mars comes down from the heaven realm, maybe he flies over here. And then, of course, during the King Harald flashback, during the whole Roxy Zebek portion of it, we saw that Marcus Mars did say, hey, Harald, you want to join the world government? Kill Roxy Zebek. And I was like, oh, shoot. Is Marcus Mars going to be the main guy interacting with King Harald? Maybe that's it. Maybe that is when Marcus Mars from the Gorosei starts stepping up and showing out individually. But beyond that chapter, we didn't really get much of him. It's kind of like he got pushed to this side, which makes sense considering there's so many characters to focus on. But yeah, if you were to ask me this question coming into the flashback, I'd be like, oh, maybe it's Marcus Mars. And of course, we do know that since King Harald drew up the pentagram abyss circle in the throne room, realistically, the God Knights and Gorosei can now instantly teleport there if they wanted to. We saw Shamrock and Gunko just snap their fingers and they were there. Oh, how do we summon Killingham and Sommers? Oh, abyss circle, boom, they're here. So yeah, like God Knights and Gorosei right now have the most plausibility to show up here. And if I had to pick one, I will lean towards Marcus Mars. But of course, there's no real build up there, minus what I just mentioned, so that theory is looking pretty null and void. The reason I don't really, put too much onus on the God Knights is because of their perception of Harald. When Shamrock and Sommers came here to Elbaf, they were like, hey, are you visiting King Harald's grave? Are we going to do that? It seems like they respected King Harald to the very end. They don't really know about his blunder or the fact that he wanted to betray them or, not obey Emu. So it's like, yeah, maybe they don't show up here and that's why their vision of Harald in their minds is so pristine. It's because they weren't here for his final moments. So I don't think Shamrock's going to show up. I don't think Sommers is going to come by. And as far as the Gorosei goes, if we just send one Gorosei member, it kind of makes you wonder, like, why not send the rest? Like, hey, bad things are happening here. Harold's in danger. Emu's plot could be thrown into disarray. Why not send the whole kin caboodle? It's not like the God Knights and Gorosei have too much to do anyways, right? They're just up at Shangara and hanging out in the castle. So it's like, yeah, like, if Harold's in danger or, if Emu's trying to rein in Harald, send somebody there. Send somebody there to check up on him and see what the hell's going down. you might be wondering, I didn't properly explain this part in case you just showed up and you don't know what this theory is. Why would somebody show up to the Elbaf throne room in the first place? I feel like I should have started there. But the main reason why, as you can see by these poll results, the reason why the concept of somebody showing up is so popular is because of two main things. One, we have the locked door situation. The guards were trying to flee the castle, and they were like, holy crap, the gate, the door, somebody locked it. If it was King Harald that locked those doors, I'd be shocked. King Harald is the one opponent in the room. If King Harald just went around, locked all the doors, and the guards were none the wiser, I'd be shocked, brother. That would be absolutely crazy. Like, why would you even ask who locked the doors? Oh, it was the king who did it. The king is walking around doing that. So it's got to be somebody working in the shadows, in my opinion. And at first, I think a lot of the Elbaf citizens blamed Loki for this. But we know Loki is more or less innocent, right? He didn't kill King Harald for no reason, and he didn't go there to the council to kill King Harald in the first place. So yes, the mystery of the locked doors is one big thing, and then of course the other big thing is the Elbaf Devil Fruit. We see that during the whole, King Harald killing everybody montage, we have a mysterious silhouette showing up into the treasure room and saying, oh wow, this is the Elbaf Devil Fruit. So because of that, it does seem like somebody is there. Somebody outside of Loki, Jarul, and maybe even King Harald. One theory I kind of like right now, of course this is like a dark horse answer, but I'm like, okay, what if King Harald, possessed by Emu, is the one who goes down to the Elbaf treasure room? Because I do think Emu would be interested in it, especially if it's one of the two devil fruits needed to defeat him. I would want that fruit ASAP, so I would take over Harald, and yeah, I'd go down there and look at the fruit. 1,000,000%. So I do like the King Harald option for that, but I think the easiest way to look at it is to just say that somebody else shows up entirely. Maybe somebody that Emu sends over to get that devil fruit and to assist King Harald. So that is where we're at right now. So for the someone else option, it's hard to think about who else would show up minus the world government, but we do have two main candidates in my opinion. The first one is who's who. So a popular theory, I'm describing all these theories to you guys as if you don't know, but a popular theory is that the Elbaf Devil Fruit is not a fruit that Loki ate, but instead it's actually the sun god Nika Devil Fruit, which could make sense, right? Elbaf does worship the sun god. The sun god fruit hasn't awoken in many, many, many years, so perhaps the reason why is because it was simply here in Elbaf. This could work with the timeline, because a year from now, King Harald's death day, who's who has the devil fruit and is traveling back to Marie's Raw. Shanks ambushes him that year and then brings it over to Windmill Village where Luffy eats it. The timeline works for it completely. But the big question is, why the hell is who's who in Elbaf? Why does who's who end up with the fruit, transporting it a year later? That is the one big holdup with the who's who theory. But, he is Cypherpole. We know that Cypherpole does travel around the world. Maybe he's here in Elbaf right now, and we just don't know. These agents, man, they're sneaky guys. And now for the second candidate that I think most people are talking about right now, but we also have the man marked by flames. Guy's a mystery. We do not know who that is. We don't really have too many hints. Oda mentioned him, I think, twice, and then just never again. But we know we have to meet him sooner rather than later. Hell, we are in that final saga. Minus Elbaf, how many more islands are we going to visit? Maybe Lodestar? Maybe a different island that Oda just makes up on the spot? And then Laughtail. Yeah, I don't think there's too much left to explore, so I do think we will get a solid hint as to who the man marked by flames is here in Elbaf, or hell, maybe they are here in Elbaf. And this could be them. Maybe they show up and they want that Elbaf Devil Fruit for themselves. And you could be saying, Sai, why would the man marked by flames want the Elbaf Devil Fruit? Hell if I know, brother, but they already have one of the 4 road poneglyphs, the key to Laughtail. I don't know their agenda, but if they're going for these big name things that could potentially take down Emu, why not? A couple of candidates for man marked by flames I've seen people talking about. So this is my own personal agenda, but I threw Barbelle up there just for like a weird shadow pick. But we didn't really see what happened to him after God Valley. Did he even escape? We have no clue. Where is he today? Is he even alive? And same with Silverax. There's so many random options out there in the world of One Piece that Oda could realistically pull in and make it make sense. So yeah, someone else seems to be dominating this poll at 56%. Pretty crazy, right? What is this? We have like 78% of people believing that somebody else will show up here. Absolutely insane. And something funny too is that we will see this next chapter. Considering where we left off, right? Loki and Jarul are about to walk through those doors. If somebody shows up, we'll see it right freaking here. So now, the last pick, of course, is no. Everybody who partakes in this event is already present, which isn't a bad option either. You could say that Loki and Jarl, they are the ones who took down Harald by themselves. And the person who goes down to the treasure room, at this point, you are essentially saying that that is going to be Loki. Which I don't mind. We have heard rumors that Loki ate the Elbaf devil fruit, but that's the thing. In the world of the One Piece, rumors are rumors, right? When we first showed up to Elbaf, we heard nothing but badness about Loki. Nothing but straight up slander. Granted, half of it was correct, but we do know there's a lot more nuance to Loki's story than the giants of Elbaf are letting on. And as far as the devil fruit goes, Loki hasn't mentioned that fruit at all yet. Right? He didn't say, oh, I'm the sun god that ate the fruit, or, ooh, I'm the one who ate that cherished devil fruit. No. He himself did not say anything about it. So when it comes to Loki eating the fruit, I'm still up in the air about that one. I want him to have a devil fruit just because I think devil fruits are cool, but I'm leaving the door open and saying that there's a chance that that's all a lie. Elbaf made it up, which makes sense because if you're already blaming Loki for killing King Harald, stabbing Elder Jarul, and, setting fires in your village every other Tuesday, yeah, if you go to the castle and you see the fruit is missing and Loki just escaped, I think Loki ate it, man. I don't really think they crossed their T's and dotted their I's when it came to this investigation. And you could be saying, Sai, surely they fought Loki before and they know that he has a devil fruit. Well, Loki also has really weird eyes. Who's to say that the devil fruit they think he has is simply just his eye powers activating, or maybe it's Ragnar. They're like, oh my god, it gave him a lightning hammer, right? There's just so many ways to explain away Loki not having a devil fruit, so I don't think that's a bad option whatsoever. So getting right into all of this now, let's just see what we got. We got this first comment, and of course, it is a Barbelle one. It says, the pole man is back at it again. It's 100% Barbelle. And what's funny about this is that I read through the replies. Well, technically, I only read the first one, and I cackled, brother. Look at this reply. I have a theory that Barbelle didn't go to God Valley because, 1, he wasn't interested in Shaggy. 2, he got more things to do underwater, probably related to lore. I love this, by the way. He's a fisherman, so he's got to be underwater doing something. And then 3, the world government is looking for him because he got something valuable. So he didn't want to take a risk by going to God Valley. All nice thoughts. This is a comment that has good intentions. Unfortunately, Barbelle was at God Valley. And I just laughed at it because it's like, yo, Barbelle made so little of an impact that people are speculating on why he wasn't there, despite him being in 3 panels. This gives off the same feeling as when I'm talking to Braga or JD Legend, and I bring up Barbelle, and they're like, wait, who is that? And then they have to actually Google who it is. It's so funny, man. And, I don't hate it. Barbelle is one of those characters where if somebody doesn't know who he is, that is totally fair. I'm not expecting every One Piece fan to know the GOAT known as Barbelle. If you want to know something about me, I actually know the man marked by Flames' identity. It's Barbelle. Just dropping it right here. And that's that's my agenda piece.
Barbelle.
I love it.
Who's Barbelle again?
Yeah, Barbelle. You know Barbelle.
Barbelle. No, I don't.
Sound like a sorry vice admiral or something.
That's what
all of you guys. Okay, yeah. You know what? We'll move on. We'll move on.
Oh, Barbelle, the fisherman.
Did you actually just look it up too?
I just did.
This says, Oda personally told me somebody else will come to the castle. Yeah, he slipped you a note. The One Piece world is so large, it could still be a new character, and yes, it could. I've seen people saying that, oh, it's gotta be somebody we know. It's somebody we know. It's like, brother, every time we hit a new island, we meet 15 new characters at bare minimum. So yeah, there's a high chance this could just be somebody brand new. Could be the man marked by Flames even. Let me see. In the arc of Elbaf, how many new characters have we met so far? Biblo, Ange, the 10 kids, so that's, 12. And then Ripley, that's 13. We have the extra 3 teachers. We already passed 15 already. And I bet there's like more I just forgot about. Like One Piece, brother, it is a vast world. It could easily be an Elbaf elder, another guy who was at the castle by happenstance. Like the possibilities are endless. Garling will show up like the rat he is to sneak 1 HP Barbelle. Garling doing it, huh? So I don't think Garling's the one who is going to show up, but I do like this idea simply because we can see the parallels between Roxy Zebek's death and good old King Harald's death. They're both being controlled in their final moments. And Garling was the one who, did the final blow against Rox. So if he did that to King Harald as well, that wouldn't be awful. The only downside with this goes back to the Shamrock and Somers line. Like, if Shamrock's dad really did have to kill King Harald in the end, would Shamrock feel good enough about King Harald to visit that grave? I don't think so. But again, it could be one of those things where, like, Garling does this, but he doesn't tell Shamrock, or maybe he does do it, tells Shamrock, and then Shamrock's like, oh no, Uncle Harold, I loved him. Which is funny to think about, right? Like, King Harald has been a part of this squadron for 10 plus years. So it's like, I bet Shamrock really does enjoy Harold's company. We haven't seen it on screen, of course, but I would love just like a side OVA or cover page story of King Harald hanging out with like your St. Charles's, which, by the way, St. Charles, because he's kind of young, King Harald could have been like a babysitter. Imagine that. King Harald with all the Celestial Dragon kids on his shoulders. Like, let's go, Charlos. Let's go, Shamrock. Come on, Somers. Killing him. Yay. Just throwing him up in the air. That'd be kind of fun. This says, yes, it was Barbelle who showed up and told Loki the secret about immortality and method to stop them. So, interestingly enough, the Barbelle route. Barbelle, keep in mind, Barbelle and Silverax, the 2 God Valley Roxpire participants who we don't know much about right now, they were present during Rox's speech about how to take over the world. About, we need the Elbaf Devil Fruit. King Harald has it. They know about it. They know it exists. They were in the room, brother. They're like Caribou. Caribou is like always there whenever they mention an ancient weapon. Barbelle is unironically in that position. Keep that in mind. Keep that in freaking mind. So, yeah, Barbelle, Silverax, I don't want to count them out yet. And the thing is, they were shown in this flashback, right? They were shown in conjuncture here. So, if Oda continues that storyline, maybe. It's Dragon. This is where Dragon gets his fruit. That would be cool. I do think Dragon has some sort of top-tier devil fruit. I guess my thing about Dragon getting the fruit of Elbaf would just be like, why is he here? It's going back to like the who's who thing, right? Who's who? Yes, if it's a Sun God Nika fruit, he makes sense. Dragon getting a devil fruit on the level of World Destroyer makes sense. But why would he be here? Why would Dragon be here on this day? And why is he acting all shady? Because we're attributing the Elbaf Devil Fruit Stealer, or the person who shows up to the room, because very well Loki could, show up later, then eat the fruit afterwards. We don't know how that goes down. But why would they lock the doors? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Dragon would show up at this very moment, let King Harald run rampant, take the Devil Fruit and run. Like, that doesn't seem like a Dragon thing to do. And of course, Dragon and Elbaf, we don't know if he's ever been here. Ooh, that's a good poll. Has Dragon ever been to Elbaf? Let me write that down real quick. I have like a whole list of polls I want to do. Dragon visiting Elbaf Pass. There we go. Okay. So, next comment. I think the circle will be important. Just like how Gunko and Shamrock spawned through it, someone else will this time. Maybe. After everything has been settled, like an after fight scene. Oh, I think this is good. Yeah. I like to imagine, shoot, maybe Shamrock and Somers comes here. That'd be crazy, huh? Maybe they're the ones who buried King Harald, and that's why they know about the grave. Because they're the ones who put him down. They're like, King Harald, why'd you have to fumble? Why'd you lose to Loki and Jarul? Maybe that's it. Yeah, and this would be interesting this would be interesting because we know that Shanks and Gaban are coming. Dang, wait. Shanks would see his brother again, and then Shamrock would be like, hey, Shanks, why did you not get the promotion? Because this is still recent, so we could actually get that confrontation between the brothers, and then maybe Shanks is like, hey, Shamrock, I'm going to avenge King Harald, and then Shamrock pulls a Shanks, because at Marineford, Shanks said, hey, let me handle Whitebeard's grave. I'll handle the burial for him and Ace. Maybe Shamrock does the opposite. Maybe Shamrock says, hey, I'm here to stop the war. I will bury King Harald. He's one of us. Ooh, that'd be so cool. Yeah. Shanks learned the let me stop the war aspect from Shamrock, his older brother. Damn. And then as far as like Sommers goes, yeah, we know that he knows about the grave. He'd visited. He likes King Harald, yada, yada. But this could be the confrontation between Scopper and Sommers, because we know they fight, right? Because when they fight current day in Elbaf, they're like, oh, long time no see. We didn't see them see each other at God Valley. That sounds redundant. I could have chose different phrasing there, but they didn't fight each other at God Valley. So they must have fought each other after the fact, which, Roger has a huge, long venture ahead of him after God Valley. So it could have happened afterwards, but it also could have just happened here. Maybe Sommers shows up with Shamrock, Scopper fights Sommers, and then Shanks fights Shamrock. And then they're like, wait. Let's just bury him. Maybe that's it. That'd be so cool. Yeah, no, I like that. And then, of course, for the agenda, we throw in Marcus Mars. Because Gorosei must sign off on this expenditure. My uncle works for Oda, and he said, Silver Axe. Okay. I love this when we have, like, a joke. Like, oh, my uncle, blah, blah, blah. And then, boom, somewhat viable theory. Not the most viable theory, but a viable theory, right? The bro, marked by flames. I hope. Just the man marked by flames is waiting for his chance to steal the fruit. It's Barbelle. All of One Piece has just been an intro for the true main character, pirate fishman, Barbelle. Dude, don't underestimate him, man. And, I had like a whole video on Barbelle. I'm not going to regurgitate it here. But Barbelle would know about the Elbaf Devil Fruit and Galley Law. Sunbelle, his potential brother, based on appearances and names, he knows about the Fishman Poneglyph because he was with Roger. Maybe together, they're the men marked by flame, the Fishmen. Ange was here along to steal the fruit. She's now an Elbaf mythical god of destruction. Yeah, this is a throwback to when a lot of people, let me tell you, so many people thought that Ange was evil. And this wasn't a bad theory, I'd say a year ago. Today, it doesn't look so good because Ange is currently burning down the library of Elbaf. But if she was here, playing coy in the castle, maybe that's the case. That would be crazy, though. Yeah, Ange eats the fruit. And one thing, too, Oda is pulling a lot from Norse mythology and just mythology in general in this final saga, especially with Elbaf. A lot of astute observers said that Ange is very reminiscent of Angerboda, the mother of monsters. And while she didn't know what she was doing at the time, she did tell the kids to imagine their worst fears and write it on paper the day Killingham shows up. And keep in mind, that is a power that more or less Angerboda has. They do give birth to all those monsters. So it's like, maybe it was Ange all along. And you could be wondering, wait, why? Like, Ange is such a random pick. And it is. But if you just roll with the agenda for a minute, we could say that Ange was like a bastard child of Harald, which wouldn't make sense. Harald seems like a semi-loyal man. But we never know, brother. We never know. Theories always seem really stupid until they're not. I feel like I always go back to that. Yeah, we can laugh at theories. Some theories don't seem likely. But theories always seem silly until Oda brings it into the story. Go back like 400 chapters. Tell somebody that Luffy's the sun god, right? Like, it's one of those things. It's like, hey, tell me that Ange is a mother of destruction. She ate the fruit. Huh? What are you talking about? Loki fought the Holy Knights. Has to be somewhere. Huh? Loki fought the Holy Knights. Has to be somewhere. Harald is a Holy Knight. I'd say that's my rebuttal. I'm assuming you're talking about like the whole line where Loki said, okay, I fought them before. Now that Scopper put into words, I know what to do. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to. And at that point, Harald is a holy knight. So yeah, that's who we could be talking about. I feel like that just makes the most sense. And we know Loki is legitimately here already. This says, those claw marks in the throne room has me thinking Shamrock. Yes, so what this comment is referring to is that when Rhodo, Luffy, Zoro, and Nami? Is that it? I feel like there's like one more person I'm missing out on, but either way, when Rhodo shows the Straw Hats the R's castle, and we get to the throne room, we do see like these 3 claw marks in the background. And Shamrock is a pretty viable candidate because of the Cerberus Devil Fruit. But going back up to the earlier comment here saying, oh, like maybe somebody comes through. Maybe those claw marks are from after the King Harald fight. Maybe that is from the Shanks and Shamrock battle, which would be awesome. You know, after King Harald goes down, Shanks and Shamrock fight, boom, claw marks in the throne room because of the Cerberus Devil Fruit or transformation. You know, we don't know if it's a Devil Fruit for sure yet because Oda did not give it the moniker. Another good option I've seen people talking about back when that chapter first aired was that it could be Blackbeard. You know, minus a lot of dogs and stuff that have claws. People were bringing up Blackbeard because this is around the time he has like the iconic Vega claw still, which is like the 3-hook thing. So it could be Blackbeard. And just like Barbelle and Silverax, Blackbeard should be another character that knows about the Elbaf Devil Fruit and its importance. Because his father is Roxy Zebek, and Eris more or less knew about Rox's plan to take on the world. Eris looked at Rox when he became Domi Reversied and said, ah, you took him on before you were ready. She knows. She knows. So maybe this is a young, spry Blackbeard showing up and stealing that Devil Fruit, which would be interesting. Because back when we first saw Blackbeard, right when he got the Guruguru no Mi, a lot of people were saying, oh, he gets 3 Devil Fruits because of the skulls, right? He has 1, 2, 3 skulls. He's probably going to get a 3rd somewhere down the line. And a popular camp was that maybe he already had a 3rd Devil Fruit and we just haven't seen it. Maybe this is where he gets it, which would be kind of crazy. That would be crazy. Sai's mom will appear to end Harald's misery. Dude, if my mom showed up, she'd be dead. Dude, moms in One Piece, brother, even if they're my mom, they will not last. I wouldn't be shocked if Oda drops a random SPS and says that he put his mom in there and also killed her. Moms, brother, in the world of One Piece, they got a ticking clock next to them. Elder Council Giant Swag. We got to see those guys eventually. Yeah. We got to see the Elbaf Elders eventually. It would be cool if they came down here. I just feel like if they did, then we wouldn't have the whole debacle of, oh, did Loki kill King Harald? Jarl, what happened? Like, if they were there, they would just spill the truth. But then again, conspiracy theories happen all the time. So maybe this says, Elder Jarl and Loki are actually at the strength level of Roger and Garp at God Valley, so they managed to take down Domi Reversied Harald together. Loki and Jarl are at the strength level of Roger and Garp at God Valley. I don't know about that, man. I see where you got this mindset from, because Harald clashed with Rox equally, and then we know that Domi Reversied makes you stronger. Harald has the Abyss Mark, he's about to get Domi Reversied, so Jarl and Loki should be at that level. I don't know, man. Like, Loki, maybe. You know, giving that to Loki, I would be kind of okay with it. But this is Loki who doesn't even have Ragnir yet. This is pre-pirate Loki we're talking about. So that's a lot of hype to give this version of him. And then Jarl is Jarl. Like, I think Jarl is going to look good. I don't think he's going to be like Garp and Roger level. I'd say 2 things. 1, the difference between Harald and Rox, as far as right now goes, right? Come 1169, things will change. But as of right now, Harald still has his mind. He still has his consciousness. He's still fighting back. He's trying to hold onto the pillar. He's telling the guards to stop him. Maybe when he gets Domi Reversied because his willpower is too strong, or maybe because, you know, he has the mark, he's not fully converted. And it's kind of like the Bellamy situation in Dressrosa, where he's trying to fight back, which is why Loki and Jarl end up winning in the end. Another way we could look at it is that maybe Loki or the Elbaf Devil Fruit are actually a hard counter to Emu's Domi Reversi. Kind of like how here in Elbaf, we expect Luffy's Sun God Nika Fruit to be a hard counter. Maybe Loki and or the Devil Fruit are the same way, where Emu is like, oh, you know, we're about to win. And then, boom, magic shonen powers, and then Harald gets obliterated. I think that could be somewhat possible. But with that being said, though, guys, that is it for today's video. I know, we're cutting it pretty short, but I just wanted to get one good poll in here. Just got home and woke up from a nap, and here we are. Let me know what other polls you guys want to see in the comments down below. The next poll I think we're going to tackle is either a Gunko poll or a Shanks team-up poll. With that being said, though, guys, I'll catch y'all later. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really freaking appreciate it. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out, brothers.